Imagine waking up, not in a distant future, but in today's reality, where your smartphone anticipates your words before you speak, your job application is screened by an algorithm, and your online behavior nudges the opportunities that quietly arrive at your doorstep. This isn't a fantasy. This isn't a test simulation. It's the age of artificial intelligence, and you're already living in it. We used to think AI was science fiction, a realm for blockbuster movies and books that warned us of rogue machines and utopias gone wrong. But today, AI is woven into the very fabric of modern life. It powers your maps, your music, your memories in the cloud. It sees through satellites, listens to voices in millions of languages, and learns from patterns we can't even name. This moment marks a shift, one so massive, it's redefining how we work, love, decide, and dream. The AI revolution isn't coming. It's unfolding. Quietly. Quickly. Sometimes invisibly. And the most important part? It's not really a story about machines. It's a story about us. Welcome to Visual Ethos, a journey not just through circuits and code, but through meaning and humanity. Over the next few hours, we'll uncover the roots of artificial intelligence, from its humble beginnings as mathematical logic to its rise as one of the most powerful forces shaping our future. We'll trace the breakthroughs that brought machines to life, not with consciousness, but with uncanny intelligence. And we'll meet the people, scientists, artists, ethicists, who pushed boundaries, asked hard questions, and imagined new possibilities. AI is transforming industries, from agriculture to art, from healthcare to Hollywood. And while some doors are closing, others are opening in ways we never thought possible. But with great power comes great responsibility. So we'll dig deeper into the ethics of AI, into its biases, into the way it's challenging what it means to be human in a world increasingly shaped by non-human minds. Can creativity survive in an automated culture? Can empathy be programmed? Can truth be protected when machines choose what we see? These are the questions that define our era. This isn't just a documentary. It's a reflection, a revelation, a wake-up call wrapped in pixels and possibility. The age of AI isn't about the machines we've built. It's about the world we're building with them, and the choices we'll make now that the future is listening. Let's begin. To truly understand artificial intelligence, we need to rewind, not just a few years, but centuries. Before apps, before smartphones, before satellites and supercomputers lit up our sky. Back to a time when the very idea of a machine thinking like a human belonged in the realm of pure imagination. It all began in the 1800s, with a man named Charles Babbage, who dared to dream beyond the limits of his era. He designed what he called the analytical engine, a mechanical device capable of performing mathematical calculations. It was never built in his lifetime, but its blueprint became the foundation for what would later evolve into the computer. Alongside him was Ada Lovelace, a visionary thinker and arguably the world's first computer programmer. She didn't just see numbers, she saw potential. She imagined that machines could go beyond math, weaving music, art, and ideas. A poetic spark in the dawn of logic. Fast forward to the 1940s, when another revolutionary stepped into the picture, Alan Turing. Turing asked a question so provocative it still echoes today. Can machines think? To explore that idea, he developed what we now call the Turing test, a simple yet profound experiment. If a machine could hold a conversation indistinguishable from a human's, did that mean it was thinking? It wasn't about wires or blinking lights, it was about behavior, understanding, and imitation. And it challenged everything we thought we knew about intelligence. As decades passed, technology progressed. Computers evolved from room-sized behemoths crunching numbers, to dynamic tools that could process language, translate code, and store entire libraries of knowledge. By the 1950s, scientists and dreamers alike were getting bolder. They began imagining machines that could learn, not just calculate. Machines that could adapt, solve problems, and maybe, just maybe, understand. Then came 1956, the year everything changed. At a summer workshop known as the Dartmouth Conference, a small group of mathematicians and scientists gathered in New Hampshire. Their goal? Explore the possibility that machines could simulate human intelligence. It was there that the term artificial intelligence was officially born. Their ambition was grand: teach machines to reason, to perceive, to act, just like us. But what they underestimated was how infinitely complex the human mind really is. Creating logic was one thing. Replicating curiosity, emotion, bias, morality, that was another story. And yet, the challenge ignited a wave of research that would shape generations. In the decades that followed, AI blossomed in labs across the world. Early programs learned to play chess, solve math problems, and navigate simple tasks. These were baby steps, yes, but powerful ones. The journey wasn't smooth. The field endured what many called AI winters, periods of slowed progress and lost funding. Promises outpaced performance, and many wondered if AI would ever live up to its potential. But visionaries kept pushing. In the 1980s, researchers discovered neural networks, systems inspired by the brain's architecture. Suddenly, machines weren't just programmed, they were being trained. And with every iteration, they got smarter. In the 2000s, data exploded. The Internet became our new nervous system, connecting billions. And AI began feeding on this digital abundance, learning from our clicks, our searches, our choices. Then came deep learning, machine vision, speech recognition. AI wasn't just thinking, it was seeing, hearing, reacting. And today, well, today it's everywhere. It's in your pocket, helping you navigate traffic and curate playlists. It's in hospitals, assisting doctors with diagnoses. It's in classrooms, tailoring lessons to students. It's in art studios, composing music and painting portraits. But none of this was inevitable. It started with questions. With philosophers, inventors, and misfits who dared to wonder, what makes us human? What makes a thought? Could machines do the same? So as we explore AI's story, remember, this isn't just a history of innovation. It's a mirror held up to our own brilliance, our limitations, and our desire to create something greater than ourselves. Because the real journey of artificial intelligence is the journey to understand what it means to think, to feel, and to exist. Fast forward to the early 2000s. The world was waking up to something big. The Internet had exploded, no longer just a tool for research or novelty, but a living, breathing web of connection. Homes, businesses, schools, everyone was logging on. We had entered the digital age. Then came smartphones. Suddenly, the power of the Internet fit in your pocket. Apps gave us instant access to news, music, maps, games, and more. Social media emerged, turning everyday moments into shared experiences. Photos, captions, reactions. Our lives began to unfold online, one scroll at a time. But behind all the connection, something extraordinary was happening. Something most of us didn't even notice. Data was multiplying. Every time you sent a message, liked a photo, watched a video, or searched for a product, you left behind a tiny trace, an invisible breadcrumb that told a story. Not just about what you did, but how you thought, what you wanted, and what you might do next. This wasn't just information. It was insight. And it was growing fast. By the 2010s, we had reached an unimaginable milestone. In a single day, humanity created more data than had been generated in all of recorded history up until the year 2000. Think about that. Thousands of years of scrolls, books, letters, archives, dwarfed by just 24 hours of digital life. Photos, emails, GPS pings, online purchases, conversations, clicks, likes. It was a data storm. And for AI, artificial intelligence, it was the breakthrough moment it had always been waiting for. You see, AI systems learn by studying massive amounts of information. They analyze patterns, spot correlations, make predictions. But without data, they're limited, like a student with no textbook. Suddenly, the world was full of textbooks. Millions of them. Billions. And they were updating in real time, every moment, every action, every heartbeat of the Internet. Companies took notice. They realized data wasn't just valuable, it was powerful. It became the new currency, the new oil, the fuel of innovation and influence. Algorithms were unleashed. They began sorting us, tagging us, studying us. They decided what videos we saw, what ads popped up, what news reached our feeds. All based on behavior. All tuned to keep us watching, buying, engaging. The line between consumption and contribution blurred. We didn't just use the Internet. We became part of its learning system. Every choice we made, every playlist we curated, every product we viewed, every story we read, trained the machine, fed the AI, made it smarter, more personalized, more predictive, and the cycle deepened. AI used our behavior to shape our experience. And our experience, in turn, shaped our behavior. It was no longer just about serving us, it was about guiding us, nudging us, influencing us in ways we didn't even realize. From shopping carts to streaming queues, from dating apps to political campaigns, AI found its way into everything. And all of it came back to data. Data isn't just numbers. It's reflection. It's emotion. It's influence. Its identity. And in the 21st century, it became the lifeblood of artificial intelligence. This chapter of the AI story isn't about robots or futuristic cities. It's about us. Our clicks. Our screens. Our habits. Our humanity. Because the more we shared, the more the system learned. And as AI continues to evolve, the question remains, are we shaping it? Or is it shaping us? The answer may lie not in the future, but in the footprints we leave online every single day. Quietly and behind the scenes, a revolution began. Not with loud machines or crowded factories. Not with political speeches or protest marches. But with something quieter, something invisible. With lines of code. This revolution didn't happen overnight. It began deep in research labs and college lecture halls, where scientists and engineers were trying to crack a mystery that had puzzled thinkers for centuries: how to make machines that could learn. At the heart of this breakthrough was a powerful idea: neural networks. Neural networks are computer systems inspired by the human brain. Instead of rigid instructions, these networks mimic how neurons process information, through patterns, connections, and feedback. Unlike traditional software, they don't just follow orders. They adapt. They learn. For decades, researchers knew about neural networks. But the technology wasn't ready. The data was too messy. The computers were too slow. They couldn't handle the massive calculations required. Then, something shifted. Better hardware arrived. Graphics processing units, GPUs, made it possible to train larger networks faster. More data was available, thanks to the rise of the Internet and smartphones. Researchers had new tools, better resources, and a growing belief that machines might soon move beyond rote memorization and into something more dynamic: understanding. That's when deep learning entered the picture. Deep learning is a powerful extension of neural networks. It allows systems to move layer by layer through information, processing details with increasing depth. With deep learning, Computers could not only recognize a face in a photo, they could track its expression, guess its age, and even identify the emotion behind a smile. Suddenly, machines were doing things that felt intuitive. They were translating languages. They were reading handwriting. They were answering questions. They weren't just following instructions anymore. They were responding, interpreting, engaging. And then came one of the strangest and most iconic moments in modern AI history. In 2012, a team at Google trained a neural network using YouTube videos. They didn't tell the machine what to look for. They simply let it scan millions of frames and figure out patterns on its own. After being exposed to enough footage, the AI started recognizing something very specific: cats. It wasn't programmed to find cats. It was never given a definition or example. But it found them anyway. Just by noticing repeated shapes, features, and movements, the system had taught itself what a cat looked like. It sounds quirky, even comical. But that moment marked a shift. It proved something extraordinary. AI could teach itself. That changed everything. From that point forward, artificial intelligence began doing things that had once been considered science fiction. It beat grandmasters at strategy games like Go, a game so complex and intuitive that experts had doubted machines could ever master it. AI didn't just win. It invented moves no human had ever considered. It composed music that resonated with emotion. It wrote poetry, stories, and scripts. It began analyzing legal contracts, detecting disease in medical scans, and helping farmers optimize crop yields. For the first time in history, AI wasn't just following instructions written by programmers. It was generating its own understanding based on the data it consumed. It wasn't creating thought or consciousness, but it was creating knowledge. And that knowledge was expanding, fast. Today, these systems are at the heart of everything from voice assistants to autonomous vehicles. They manage logistics, streamline industries, and shape decisions in fields ranging from education to finance. All of it, every breakthrough, every new possibility, traces back to those early experiments, to the realization that machines could learn not by being told, but by observing. This part of the AI story is subtle. It doesn't begin with a bang or a spotlight. It begins with code, with curiosity, with the quiet hum of processors learning to see the world in pixels and probabilities. And it reminds us that the biggest revolutions don't always start with noise. Sometimes they start with patterns. Sometimes they start with questions. Sometimes they start with a cat. Artificial intelligence didn't arrive with a dramatic headline or a flashing billboard. It didn't storm into society with sci-fi robots or futuristic fanfare. Instead, it slipped in quietly, through our phones. In 2011, Apple introduced Siri, a voice-activated assistant that could answer questions, set reminders, and respond to commands with a kind of digital charm. It wasn't perfect, but it was revolutionary. Suddenly, we could talk to our devices. And they talked back. Then came Google Now. Then Amazon's Alexa. Then Microsoft's Cortana, Samsung's Bixby. The list kept growing. These AI-powered assistants weren't just tools. They were companions. They could speak, listen, recognize patterns in our questions, and even hold basic conversations. With each new version, they got smarter. More responsive, more personalized. But that was only the beginning. AI didn't just help us search or set alarms. It began shaping what we saw and how we saw it. Algorithms, running silently in the background, became gatekeepers of digital content. They curated our feeds, selected our news, chose our music, recommended videos, products, and influencers. They shaped what trended and what faded, what sparked emotion and what scrolled past unnoticed. Every app became a mirror, reflecting our behavior, adjusting based on our clicks, our likes, our habits. Navigation apps learn to predict traffic, offering the fastest routes based on real-time data. Translation tools broke down language barriers, making global conversations possible in seconds. Recommendation engines guessed what movies we might love, what clothes we'd want to buy, even what words we'd type next. Behind the scenes, machine learning models worked around the clock. They scanned, filtered, predicted, optimized. Our devices no longer just served us. They understood us. And they kept evolving. The more we used them, the more they adapted. AI became woven into the fabric of daily life, subtle, seamless, often invisible. It was in our emails, organizing priorities. It was in our cameras, enhancing images. It was in our smart homes, regulating temperature, lighting, security. We didn't fight this change. We embraced it. Not because someone forced us to. Not because we were tricked. But because it made life easier. Faster responses. Smarter recommendations. Less friction, more flow. We traded complexity for convenience. And in doing so, we allowed AI to grow, learn from us, shape us, guide us. Today, AI is embedded in everything from virtual classrooms to healthcare diagnostics, from entertainment to elections. It doesn't just live in supercomputers or tech labs. It lives in our pockets, our homes, our routines. And that journey, from a novelty voice assistant to an everyday partner, happened quietly. No alarms. No declarations. Just code. Listening, learning, responding. Artificial intelligence didn't disrupt life. It blended into it, until it became impossible to imagine our world without it. This chapter of AI isn't about machines that think. It's about systems that adapt, that reflect who we are, that learn from what we do. And maybe the most remarkable part is how natural it feels. From simple voice commands to sophisticated digital ecosystems, AI didn't just change technology. It changed our relationship with it. And as we move forward, the question shifts. It's no longer, will AI affect us? It's, how deeply has it already? Because the answers are already written. In every swipe, every scroll, every spoken phrase that made our world just a little more responsive. Every wave of technological progress brings change. Sometimes sudden. Sometimes slow. But always transformative. And artificial intelligence is no exception. In the past, machines entered the workforce with a clear purpose: replace manual labor. Mechanical arms took over assembly lines. Conveyor belts replaced hands. The first wave of automation was physical, reshaping industries like manufacturing, mining, and agriculture. People had to adjust. Some jobs vanished. Others changed. New skills emerged. And society moved forward. But then came the second wave, machines that could think. Not in the human sense. Not with emotions or consciousness. But with logic, speed, and consistency that outperformed humans in certain tasks. These machines didn't just lift heavy objects. They processed information. They predicted outcomes. They answered phones and scanned spreadsheets. Today, artificial intelligence has taken this transformation even further. AI can write legal contracts by analyzing thousands of documents. It can handle customer service queries, responding instantly with tailored messages. It can assist doctors in diagnosing diseases, spotting abnormalities in X-rays faster and more accurately than trained eyes. It composes music that feels alive, designs buildings with efficiency, writes code for complex systems. AI is not just working beside us, it's working within the fabric of our professions. So what does this mean for the future of work? It means we are standing at another turning point. Some jobs will disappear. Tasks that are repetitive, rule-based, or data-heavy may soon be fully automated. This includes things like bookkeeping, basic reporting, logistics management, and even parts of education or healthcare. But not all change leads to loss. Other jobs will transform. Roles that were once simple will evolve to include oversight, strategy, creativity, and decision-making. Employees may find themselves working alongside AI systems, interpreting their output, improving their recommendations, and bringing human nuance to machine intelligence. And new kinds of work, unthinkable just a decade ago, are already emerging. There are prompt engineers crafting the right words to unlock AI's capabilities. There are data ethicists guiding how systems are trained. There are AI trainers feeding systems with better, more inclusive information. Entire sectors may grow around AI, building it, governing it, translating it for others. And as AI integrates into creative industries, marketing, entertainment, and education, the boundaries of work itself may shift. But here's the deeper question. Is this transformation helpful or harmful? The answer depends not on the technology alone, but on us. It depends on how we manage the change. Who benefits from it? Who is left behind? And, most importantly, who controls the systems driving it? If AI is deployed with fairness and transparency, it can reduce bias, optimize labor, and free us from mundane tasks. It can help people focus on what they do best: think, create, connect. But if AI is driven by unchecked profit, by monopolies, by flawed data, it can deepen inequality. It can make decisions without accountability. It can displace people without offering a path forward. The challenge isn't just technical. It's ethical, political, human. We must ask, who decides what AI does? Who decides how it learns? Who decides when it's used? And as AI becomes a core part of every career, every industry, every society, it's these decisions that will shape the future of work. Will we build a future where AI enhances human potential? Or one where it replaces it? That's the crossroad we face. Because while machines can be brilliant, it's people who set the vision. People who define the values. People who live with the results. And in this moment of change, our choices matter more than ever. Let's not just react to AI. Let's shape it. So that in the future, work isn't something we lose. It's something we redefine. Artificial intelligence is powerful. It can solve problems, automate tasks, improve productivity, and unlock entirely new ways of living and working. It's reshaping industries, communities, and individual lives at a pace few technologies ever have. But power without fairness is dangerous. And as AI becomes more embedded in our daily systems, in healthcare, finance, education, public safety, that danger becomes harder to ignore. The challenge isn't just about what AI can do. It's about how it does it. At the heart of many AI systems are algorithms, mathematical instructions trained on massive amounts of data. And while these systems may appear objective, they can reflect the biases of the data they learn from. Sometimes that bias is obvious. Take facial recognition, for example. Multiple studies have shown that these tools often perform worse on people of color. They misidentify. They misclassify. They make mistakes that lead to real consequences, like wrongful arrests or surveillance errors. Other times, bias is buried deep in complex systems. Loan approval algorithms might be trained on historical financial data, data that reflects decades of inequality. Hiring software might screen resumes in ways that favor certain schools, names, or language choices. Predictive policing models might target communities already over-policed, reinforcing cycles of distrust. These aren't small technical glitches. They're big problems. Because they touch real lives. They decide who gets a loan, Who gets a job? Who gets access to housing, education, or justice? When machines play a role in decisions this important, fairness isn't optional. It's essential. And yet, fairness is hard to define. What's fair to one person might seem unfair to another. Cultural context matters. History matters. Intentions matter. That's why ethics in AI is more than just math. It's a human conversation. Who gets to set the standards? Who decides what fairness looks like? And who takes responsibility when things go wrong? Right now, there's no universal answer. Some companies have internal ethics teams. Some governments are building regulation frameworks. But it's still early, and AI systems are evolving faster than our ability to govern them. And the stakes are high. In moments of error or harm, the human cost can be devastating. A rejected loan. A lost opportunity. A false accusation. A system that doesn't just misunderstand, but misrepresents. So how do we respond? First, we acknowledge the problem. We don't pretend algorithms are neutral or perfect. We examine their training data. We question their design. Second, we push for transparency. If an AI system is making decisions about your life, you should know how it works, what data it uses, how its rules are set. Black box algorithms may be efficient, but they can't be allowed to operate without oversight. Third, we build diversity into the process. The people training AI need to represent the people impacted by it. Different perspectives lead to better questions, better data, better outcomes. Fourth, we hold systems accountable. That includes the developers, the institutions deploying AI, and the regulators shaping policy. Accountability doesn't mean stifling innovation. It means guiding it with care. Fifth, we make ethics part of the curriculum. For engineers, leaders, and everyday users. Understanding the social impact of technology should be as important as knowing how to code. Because AI is no longer theoretical. It's real. It's active. And it's powerful enough to shape society, both for better and for worse. Fairness isn't just a design feature. It's a responsibility. And as AI continues to grow, touching more lives, making more decisions, operating in more spaces, we have to ask ourselves the hard questions. Are we building systems that include everyone? That honor complexity? That protect dignity? Or are we leaving fairness behind in the rush toward progress? The answers aren't easy. But the conversation can't wait. Because ethics is not a luxury. It's a necessity. And the future of AI depends on whether we're brave enough to do what's right before it's too late. Truth used to be simple. What you saw and heard, what was printed, recorded, captured, it was real, tangible, verifiable. The photograph matched the moment. The voice matched the face. The facts could be traced, debated, understood. But today, things are different. Artificial intelligence has blurred those lines. Quietly, steadily, and now radically. It started with subtle shifts. Algorithms shaping what content reached your screen. Recommendation engines pushing certain headlines. The slow drift away from broadcast news and toward curated feeds built just for you. Then came deepfakes. AI-generated videos that mimic real people. Their faces, voices, expressions. A few clicks, some training data, and suddenly you have a clip of someone saying something they never said. Doing something they never did. And it looks real. Almost too real. What began as a technological curiosity quickly became a tool for manipulation. At the same time, chatbots emerged, flooding platforms with automated messages. These bots could mimic emotion, urgency, outrage. They could spread falsehoods at scale, amplify conspiracy theories, and overwhelm fact-checkers trying to keep up. Language models like me can generate information fast. And while much of it is accurate and helpful, there's a risk when output is taken without context or scrutiny. AI can produce convincing text, complete with citations, examples, and tone. But convincing isn't the same as true. Suddenly, truth itself became unstable. It became hard to know whether the video you're watching is real, whether the quote you're reading was ever spoken, whether the image in your feed was taken with a camera or generated in code. And this shift matters, not just philosophically, but practically. In news, it affects democracy. In politics, it influences elections. In justice, it impacts evidence. When the line between real and fake becomes blurry, the consequences ripple outward. People lose trust. Institutions lose credibility. Public discourse becomes fractured. We don't just struggle to find truth, we struggle to agree on what truth even means. This isn't just about technology. It's about psychology, sociology, humanity. We used to debate ideas. Now we debate whether the footage is authentic, whether the article was written by a person or a machine, whether the viral message came from a neighbor or a bot farm. AI hasn't simply changed how we access information. It has changed how we decide what to believe. It's made context essential. It's made literacy, digital, emotional, intellectual, more important than ever. Because truth is no longer delivered. It's constructed, interpreted, filtered through algorithms, screens, and biases we may not even see. We are all caught in the middle of a new battleground. On one side, truth, integrity, verification. On the other, deception, distortion, synthetic reality. And in between, millions of people trying to make sense of the world, through content, through conversation, through tools they don't always understand. The question isn't whether AI will shape truth. It already does. The question is whether we will develop the frameworks, ethical, legal, social, to protect it. Can journalists adapt? Can educators teach the critical skills needed? Can platforms take responsibility? Can we, as a society, rise to the challenge of living in a world where appearances can lie, and where lies can look like truth? This isn't about fear. It's about vigilance. We need tools that verify, not just generate. We need systems that inform, not manipulate. We need voices that guide, not overwhelm. Because truth isn't just data. It's the foundation of trust, of justice, of community. And if we lose our grip on it, the cost won't be measured in clicks or shares. It'll be measured in who we become. So in this age of artificial intelligence, staying informed isn't enough. We must stay discerning, critical, awake. Because truth is now a battlefield. And we are all part of the fight. Technology has always shaped the battlefield. From spears to gunpowder, from tanks to satellites, each breakthrough has redefined how wars are fought and who holds the advantage. But now, we've entered a new era. One where the weapon isn't just metal and firepower. It's intelligence. Artificial intelligence. AI is changing warfare, not incrementally, but fundamentally. This shift isn't happening with dramatic explosions or science fiction fanfare. It's unfolding quietly, behind firewalls, inside code, through systems that never sleep. Algorithms are calculating strategy. Machines are interpreting signals. Entire combat decisions are happening faster than humans can comprehend. One of the most striking examples is in unmanned aerial systems, drones. Drones used to require human operators. A soldier behind a screen, guiding the craft, making the final decision to strike. But now, some drones are equipped with AI that can identify targets independently. No human in the loop. Just code, sensors, and a split-second decision that could mean life or death. This leads to another innovation: robot swarms. Inspired by nature, particularly flocks of birds and schools of fish, engineers have created swarms of small robotic units that can move together without direct instruction. Coordinated, reactive, self-adjusting. These swarms can infiltrate spaces, map terrain, carry out surveillance, or attack. No general needed, just mission parameters. And then there's cyber warfare. AI-powered cyber attacks don't need missiles or bombs. They use algorithms. They exploit vulnerabilities. They strike in milliseconds, faster than any human defense system can react. They can disable infrastructure, steal classified data, influence political systems, and disrupt entire nations without a single shot fired. All of this raises serious, unavoidable questions. Should machines be allowed to kill? In a traditional battlefield, decisions to take a life are made by people. Complex, emotional, ethical beings who weigh consequences, carry responsibility, and answer to law. But when machines make that call, where does accountability go? If an autonomous drone misidentifies a target and causes civilian casualties, who is to blame? The programmer? The military commander? The company that built the system? Or is it no one, just a glitch in a sea of code? This isn't theoretical. These questions are already here, and they extend far beyond combat zones. AI is being used to monitor borders, predict insurgent activity, and even forecast political unrest. Surveillance tools powered by AI can follow individuals across cities, recognize faces in crowds, and trigger automated alerts. The line between defense and control blurs, and the role of the citizen shifts. This leads us to a deeper reflection. Where do humans fit in? If machines can fight, analyze, decide, what's left for the soldier? For the strategist? For the diplomat? Do we become observers of war rather than participants? Or do we become caretakers of systems that wage war on our behalf? There's also the psychological toll. What happens when decisions of life and death are reduced to input and output? When war becomes less about sacrifice and more about simulation? When the emotional weight is outsourced to software? We must ask, are we losing something human in the pursuit of technological precision? These concerns aren't anti-technology. They're pro-responsibility. Because while AI can make war faster, smarter, and more effective, it can also make it colder, detached, scalable, and, potentially, uncontrollable. That's why ethical frameworks matter more than ever. Nations must set limits. Technologists must ask hard questions. Militaries must resist the temptation of unchecked automation. There must be transparency, oversight, debate. Because if AI continues to shape war and humans lose touch with the consequences, we risk crossing a line we may not be able to return from. The battlefield is evolving, and with it, our duty to define the rules. Let AI be a tool, not a replacement. Let wisdom guide progress, not just speed. Because in war, as in life, it's not just what we can do. It's what we should do. And that question, that tension, will shape the future of conflict far more than any weapon ever could. AI can help protect people. It can find missing persons faster, predict crimes before they happen, and streamline investigations. It can detect anomalies in public spaces and flag suspicious behavior. In moments of crisis, AI can respond with speed, accuracy, and scale beyond human capacity. But in the wrong hands, the same technology becomes something else entirely. A system not of protection, but of control. Governments around the world are already using AI to monitor their citizens. This isn't theoretical or futuristic. It's happening today. Cameras mounted on street corners, buildings, buses, millions of them, watching every movement. Many of these cameras are paired with facial recognition software that can identify individuals in real time, often without their knowledge or consent. In some countries, this surveillance goes further. Algorithms judge behavior. Social credit systems track personal actions, what people buy, how they speak, where they go. Points are given or taken away based on compliance, loyalty, and perceived morality. Rewards follow those who conform. Punishments follow those who deviate. Access to transportation, education, housing, even freedom itself, can hinge on these scores. It's no longer just about law-breaking. It's about living within a prescribed pattern, shaped not by law, but by invisible software. The lines between safety and submission start to blur. The same AI tools that help locate a missing child can be used to follow a journalist. The same analytics used to monitor public health can track protesters. The same predictive policing models that promise efficiency can lead to discrimination. And because these systems are powered by data, the more we interact with digital technology, the more we're being mapped, analyzed, and categorized. Our smartphones record location history. Browsers log our searches. Smart home devices listen to our conversations. Social platforms track engagement, flag emotions, monitor connections. It's a world full of cameras and code. And in this world, privacy is becoming harder to find. We used to assume privacy meant being alone. Now it means being disconnected. And disconnection, in a digital society, is increasingly impossible. From work to education, entertainment to identity, everything runs on networks. This doesn't mean all surveillance is bad. In many contexts, it's necessary. Public safety requires tools to respond quickly. Investigations benefit from data trails. Emergencies demand visibility. But it's a fine line. The question is not whether AI surveillance works. It's who controls it, how it's used, and whether people have the power to say no. Consent is critical. Transparency is essential. Accountability must be built into the system, because unchecked technology doesn't just record life. It shapes it. If cameras see everything, people might stop acting freely. If algorithms judge behavior, fear replaces authenticity. If voices are silenced through automated systems, dissent becomes invisible. This isn't science fiction. It's a growing reality. We must ask ourselves, are these systems being used to serve the people or to control them? Are citizens aware of the scale of monitoring? Do they have the right to challenge it? Can they correct errors in the system? Can they opt out? Technology is powerful, and AI adds a layer of speed, scale, and sophistication we've never had before. But it must be balanced with ethics, with human rights, with safeguards that protect not just the many, but the vulnerable. Because when privacy fades, democracy follows. Surveillance without consent erodes trust. Control without accountability erodes freedom. And silence enforced by software is still silence. We need laws that define boundaries. We need systems that explain their decisions. We need dialogue between technologists, policymakers, and the people most affected. Because protection without privacy is not protection. And power without accountability is not safety. In the age of AI, freedom must not be an afterthought. It must be a cornerstone. We used to believe that creativity was something sacred, something uniquely human. It was the poet whispering lines into the night, the painter lost in color and movement, the musician chasing melodies that stirred the soul. Creativity was passion, emotion, experience, something machines could never touch. Not anymore. Today, artificial intelligence is stepping into the studio, onto the stage, behind the camera. AI can now write poems with haunting elegance. It paints portraits that stir emotion. It composes music across genres, from orchestral ballads to lo-fi beats. It edits videos, matches transitions to rhythm, even generates scripts that mimic tone and voice. Some of these creations are so convincing that people can't tell the difference. Some don't even care to compare. They prefer AI-generated content. It's fast. It's polished. It's personalized. And that raises a powerful question. Is this real creativity or just clever copying? To answer that, we need to understand how AI works. Unlike humans, AI doesn't feel inspiration. It doesn't wrestle with heartbreak or chase beauty through pain. What it does is learn, by analyzing vast libraries of content created by people. Novels, paintings, songs, film. Every brushstroke and chord becomes part of its dataset. AI finds patterns. It maps rhythms. It identifies styles. And then it generates something new, not entirely original, but also not a direct copy. It's remixing, repurposing, reimagining. In many ways, that's what human creators do too. A filmmaker might draw influence from a book. A songwriter may be echoing the heartbreak of 1,000 other heartbreaks. Artists are shaped by the work they consume. So what makes human creativity different? Maybe it's the emotion behind the choice, the story behind the brush, the lived experience that flows through each decision. AI can generate a love poem, but it doesn't understand longing. It can paint a stormy sky, but it's never walked through rain. It can compose a ballad, but it's never cried over a memory. That difference matters, especially to artists, writers, and musicians who live for the creative process. For them, creation is identity, expression, humanity. Now, they face a new reality. Their work can be mimicked by machines, their styles replicated, their voice digitally cloned. And while that opens doors for efficiency and collaboration, it also opens questions around ownership, around protection, around value. If a machine can paint like Van Gogh or rhyme like a slam poet, what happens to the original? Is it still sacred? Is it still paid? Is it still needed? These aren't just creative questions. They're economic ones, legal ones, emotional ones. Can artists protect their styles? Should AI be allowed to train on human work without permission? Where do we draw the line between inspiration and exploitation? Copyright laws weren't built for neural networks. Licensing wasn't designed for machine learning. The entire framework of intellectual property is being challenged. And that challenge echoes beyond the studio. In classrooms, students wonder if it's okay to use AI to write essays. In businesses, teams debate whether to use AI for branding and design. In media, journalists question how to stay authentic when automation can produce articles in seconds. The very definition of creator is being rewritten. Some say this is a renaissance, an age where human creativity partners with machine intelligence to reach new heights, where AI becomes a co-pilot, not a competitor, where the best ideas are born from collaboration, not division. Others see a threat, a flood of content with no soul, art without artists, expression without emotion. They fear a creative world stripped of its human heartbeat. So where do we go from here? We reflect. We discuss. We decide. We build systems that recognize and reward human contribution. We train AI ethically, transparently, with respect for creators. We adapt our laws, our education, our values. Because AI can generate content. But only we can give it meaning. Only we can decide what resonates, what inspires, what heals. Creativity isn't just output. It's connection. And whether AI becomes a muse or a mirror, or something else entirely, will depend on the choices we make now. The future of creativity isn't just about what we can produce. It's about what we choose to protect. The future isn't humans versus machines. It's humans with machines. That line is more than just a prediction. It's already unfolding in real time. Every day, the boundary between human and technology becomes less about separation and more about fusion. Not domination, not competition, but collaboration. We're merging. It started with wearables. Smartwatches tracking heartbeats. Glasses adjusting to light. Phones responding to voice. Small steps, simple conveniences. But they opened the door. Now, brain-computer interfaces allow people to control devices using thought alone. Not metaphorically, literally. Electrodes pick up neural activity, and computers translate intention into action. Move the cursor. Speak the word. Control the prosthetic hand. For individuals with disabilities, this isn't just innovation, it's liberation. AI now helps people walk again, speak again, regain movement lost to injury or illness. Neural implants restore hearing. Exoskeletons assist with mobility. Voice models replicate lost speech. These aren't distant experiments, they're real, active, life-changing. And prosthetic limbs? They've evolved beyond static tools. Today's prosthetics respond to subtle muscle signals and brain commands. Some models can sense pressure. Some simulate touch. A hand that not only moves, but feels. A leg that responds instinctively to balance. In these moments, technology isn't something external. It's something intimate, integrated, alive with purpose. We've gone from using machines to becoming symbiotic with them. Our relationship with tech is shifting. It's no longer just about productivity. It's about identity, enhancement, possibility. Microchips embedded under skin for security access. Retinal implants transmitting visual data. AI copilots guiding thought, speech, creativity. As we move forward, these advancements will accelerate. Faster processors, lighter materials, more accurate neural mapping. Tools that adapt to our biology, not the other way around. And yet, this transformation raises powerful questions. What happens when machines become part of our bodies? When code becomes as intimate as DNA? What does it mean to improve ourselves through technology? Is it healing? Optimizing? Replacing? Where do we draw the line between augmentation and alteration? These aren't just technical questions. They're philosophical, emotional, cultural. Because every enhancement carries assumptions about ability, about beauty, about what it means to be human. And as we shape technology, it shapes us back. Do we risk losing something human? Or are we unlocking new dimensions of what humanity can be? Some fear a future where people become overly dependent, where natural ability is overshadowed by digital enhancement, where inequality deepens, not just financially, but biologically. Others see a future of empowerment, where barriers fall, where age, injury, or difference no longer limit experience, where creativity expands and communication evolves. Neither vision is entirely wrong, but both demand intention. We must guide this fusion with care, with ethics, empathy, and inclusion. Everyone must have a voice in what we build. Not just engineers and investors, but users, patients, parents, artists, philosophers. Because this isn't just about tools. It's about people. About dignity. About choice. Let machines help us walk. Let them help us express, connect, heal. But let's never forget, the goal isn't to become machines. It's to become more human. And in that journey, one where silicon meets skin, data meets emotion, we may discover a future that's not cold, calculated, or distant. but deeply alive, deeply connected, deeply ours. Behind the scenes, a global race is underway. It's not broadcast with stadium crowds or flashing headlines. It's not measured in medals or trophies. But it may be the most defining competition of the 21st century. The race for artificial intelligence. From corporate labs to government research centers, countries are pouring resources into AI development at unprecedented levels. Billions in funding. Entire departments built around machine learning, data infrastructure, and neural networks. And it's not just about making smarter apps or more efficient factories. This race is about power. Geopolitical power. Military dominance. Economic advantage. Even cultural influence. The United States, China, and the European Union are at the forefront, each with their own motivations, philosophies, and strategies. Each pushing the boundaries of AI innovation not just for progress, but for position. Because the belief is simple. Whoever leads in AI may lead the future. Why? Because AI isn't one industry. It's every industry. It's agriculture predicting crop yields. It's finance predicting market shifts. It's medicine diagnosing illness. It's national defense automating decisions in split seconds. AI shapes what we buy, what we see, what we believe. And whoever builds the systems that drive these choices steers the course of global society. But this race isn't just about economics and efficiency. It's about ethics. It's about values. Different nations hold different views on how AI should be used, and more importantly, what AI should be allowed to do. Some governments prioritize control, using AI for surveillance, social scoring, and predictive policing. Others emphasize privacy and regulation, building guardrails to prevent abuse, bias, and inequality. And then there are questions no country has fully answered. Who owns AI-generated content? Who bears responsibility when machines make harmful decisions? Who keeps autonomous weapons from acting without oversight? As these technologies become more powerful, the decisions made behind closed doors matter more than ever. This global competition isn't just shaping machines. It's shaping morals. So what kind of world is this race creating? Is it one of cooperation, where nations share research, align on ethics, and use AI to solve global challenges like climate change, poverty, and disease? Or is it a world of fragmentation, where countries compete for dominance, hoard innovation, and weaponize algorithms to gain leverage? The stakes go far beyond technological pride. If AI accelerates military capabilities, it could shift balances of power and spark tension. If AI monopolizes economic sectors, smaller nations could be left behind. And if AI manipulates information at scale, the very concept of truth could erode, across borders, across cultures, across generations. That's why this race demands more than innovation. It demands wisdom. It demands transparency, collaboration, courage. Because the future of AI won't be decided by machines. It will be decided by people, their choices, their vision, their willingness to rise above fear and find common purpose. We must ask, will nations use AI to uplift humanity? Or to deepen control? Will borders become barriers to progress? Or bridges for shared understanding? The clock is ticking. Research is advancing. Systems are being deployed. And somewhere, behind every algorithm and every investment, a world is taking shape. The question isn't whether the race will continue. It's whether the finish line leads to connection or competition. And only time will tell. AI is more than a tool. It's a mirror. Not because it looks like us, but because it reflects what we value, what we prioritize, what we teach. As we build machines that learn, think, and adapt, We're forced to confront uncomfortable questions. Questions that have lingered in philosophy, literature, and spirituality for centuries, but now rise with real urgency. What does it mean to think? Not just solve equations or analyze data, but to reflect, to reason, to wonder. Machines can process logic far faster than humans. They calculate risk. They find patterns. They make predictions. But do they think? Or are they just simulating the steps we associate with intelligence? When a language model speaks with nuance, when an image generator paints with style, when a recommendation algorithm seems to understand you, what are we really interacting with? Is it just code echoing what it has seen? Or are we meeting a new kind of intelligence? Then there's the deeper question. What does it mean to feel? We cry at movies. We fall in love. We make decisions based on instinct, memory, emotion. AI doesn't cry. It doesn't fall in love. It doesn't regret or hope or grieve. Yet some machines now mimic empathy. They offer comfort, respond with warmth, mirror tone and sentiment. And for some people, especially those alone, this can feel real. But is it? Are we connecting with a presence or projecting meaning onto output? As AI becomes more convincing, more natural, more accessible, how do we define the boundary between genuine connection and simulation? And then, what does it mean to create? For generations, creativity was humanity's sacred ground. Painting, writing, music, storytelling. These were more than skills. They were expressions of soul, of history, of culture. Now AI composes symphonies. It writes novels. It designs logos, brands, films. It generates art with breathtaking beauty and uncanny depth. But is this creation or clever reconstruction? Machines learn from us. They feed on our archives. They remix our past. So when AI paints a portrait, whose vision is it? This isn't just about copyright or originality. It's about meaning. Why do we create in the first place? To understand ourselves. To reach others. To leave something behind. Can machines truly share in that purpose? The boundary between person and machine is blurring. We wear devices that track our every heartbeat. We talk to bots that understand our schedules better than family members. We use AI to monitor health, brainstorm ideas, even finish sentences. And as neural interfaces improve, as machines respond to brain signals, as avatars mirror emotion, what makes us distinct? Will AI help us grow? Will it help us unlock deeper understanding, remove burdens, extend creativity? Or will it take our place? Not just in jobs, but in decisions, in relationships, in purpose? That depends on what we do now, on how we teach our systems, on whether we embed ethics, empathy, and justice, not just efficiency, on whether we value depth, not just speed, on whether we uplift humanity, not just automate it. Because every line of code is a choice. Every dataset reflects a perspective. Every deployment shapes experience. And the choices we make today will echo across generations. They'll define what kind of world our children inherit. Will it be one where machines empower people? Or one where people adapt to machines? A world of connection or control? Of meaning or mimicry? AI doesn't decide that. We do. And the mirror is waiting. We're not just witnesses to the AI revolution. We're participants. It's easy to think of technological change as something external, something happening out there in labs or boardrooms. But AI isn't being developed in isolation. It's shaped by our choices, our conversations, our values. Every click matters. Every decision we make as creators, leaders, users, It all contributes to the story AI is becoming. Every product we launch, every regulation we write, every ethical stance we take, every boundary we push, it echoes. Because AI doesn't evolve in a vacuum. It learns from us. It mirrors us. It scales what we put into it, both the brilliance and the flaws. And the stakes are rising. AI now touches healthcare, education, justice, warfare, entertainment. It curates news. It influences elections. It designs art. It coaches employees. It predicts behavior. It diagnoses illness. It even speaks for those who've lost their voice. This isn't just software anymore. It's infrastructure. It's intelligence. It's power. And with power comes responsibility. Not just for engineers and policymakers, but for all of us. This moment in history isn't just about machines. It's about humanity. It's about who we are and who we choose to become. Do we build tools that liberate or isolate? Do we design systems that uplift or automate control? Do we amplify creativity or drown it in noise? Do we seek truth or settle for convenience? These are choices, not technological ones. Moral ones, spiritual ones. Because AI isn't just challenging our workflows, it's challenging our worldview. What does it mean to be original? What does it mean to be alive? What does it mean to connect? What does it mean to lead? AI pushes us to redefine what we value. It invites us to redesign society. It forces us to ask what kind of legacy we're leaving, not just in memory, but in code. Because every algorithm is a reflection, and every reflection deserves scrutiny. So stay curious. Curiosity is resistance in an age of easy answers. It's the spark that questions the status quo. The energy that asks, what if, when others say, that's just how it is. Stay awake. Sleepwalking through this transformation is not an option. We need eyes wide open to see the bias, the beauty, the opportunity, the risk. To stay informed, engaged, grounded, and most importantly, stay human. Not just in biology, but in practice, in empathy, in imagination, in nuance. Let's protect what machines cannot replicate: conscience, compassion, context. Let's honor the strange and wonderful contradictions that make us who we are. Because if AI is a mirror, then what we reflect matters. This has been Visual Ethos, a space for ideas, for stories that make you think. If you believe in thoughtful storytelling, in questions that provoke, in tech that touches the soul, subscribe, share, and keep asking. Because the future belongs to those who stay curious, to those who stay awake, to those who, above all, stay human.